Hi, welcome to Learn Language Like Linguist. I am Roy. In this video, we are going to talk about the module system in JavaScript. Before we start, please prepare your environment to try our examples. You may use the console of inspect mode in modern browsers. Another choice is to use Node.js higher than 13.3. In this version or later, we can use its internal module loader. You may Google nvm install Node in case you have any question about the installation. As we mentioned in our last video, there are two kinds of ways to program with JavaScript language: script and module. In script mode, the longest statement expression as the initial script body is called directive prologues. As we mentioned in our last video, the statement expression is an expression ends with semicolon. Usually, we put use strict literal string in the position of directive prologues. We'll explain it later. The script body may consist of several statements. You may ever wonder why JavaScript doesn't have main function just like C or Java language does. However, in script mode, the whole script program is the big main function. In the script mode, you can only import other modules, and it is meaningless to export any symbols. In modules, you don't have to write use strict. Obviously, the use strict should appear only once in the script entry, because all other imported modules will be affected. Actually, if you put multiple use strict line, there could be a warning. Depends on the implementation. Of course, you can import other modules and export functions or variables. However, the most significant for a module is the lexical environment. So, what is a lexical environment? First, let me introduce lexical scope. It is described in the Dragon Book that a language uses static scope or lexical scope if it is possible to determine the scope of a declaration by looking only at the program. It is useful to protect symbols from name conflicts. However, JavaScript is not always lexical scope. The scope of JavaScript is a little complex. We are going to discuss it later. Now we come to the lexical environment. A new lexical environment is created each time the code is evaluating. A lexical environment may serve as the outer environment for multiple inner lexical environments. There are three types of lexical environment in JavaScript: global environment, module environment, and function environment. A global environment is a lexical environment which doesn't have an outer environment. The global environment is unique in a program, and the objects stored in global environment are available everywhere within a program. A global environment associates the global identifiers to global objects. You may imagine there is a mapping table for global objects. Please notice that the global object is a special term in JavaScript. It's not simply the common object defined globally. It also includes language features and implementation-defined stuffs, which may be hidden from common users. Module environment is the top-level environment of a module. Its upper environment is the global environment. It includes two types of mappings. The first one is the bindings defined in the current module. The second one is the bindings imported explicitly from other modules. Function environment. Each time you evaluate a function environment will be created. It's mapping between local defined identifiers and objects. Lexical environment is abstract concept. The implementation may decide how to do it in details. For example, there may be no mapping table, but reference the value directly. Depends on the compiler optimizing strategy. In the old JavaScript before ES6, the minimum granularity of lexical environment is the function environment. That is to say, in a function, each time you declare a variable with var keyword, it's leaving the whole function, even the code before its declaration. After ES6, we have let keyword for block scope. Let's figure out what is a block. A block is a curly braces parenthesized statement list. Obviously, the curly braces can be used to constrain its scope. That is to say, the liveness of the object began from the left brace and finally end with right brace. However, if you still use var keyword to declare a variable, the variable is still living in the function environment. You have to use let keyword. We have a simple example to show the difference between var and let keyword. If the block scope is syntactically valid, then let keyword will bind the variable to the current block scope. That is to say, the variable name is protected by the block scope, and it will not be interfered outside of the block. I suggest you try this example code. Please feel free to pause video here. The scopes could be nested. However, in JavaScript, you have to take care of the variable declaration, and you have to understand the difference between var and let. For var scope, the variable will not be renamed, so there will be side effects if you changed one of them. Var keyword is a little hard to understand because it's dynamic scoping. For let scope, the variable will be renamed in different scope, so the compiler will treat them as different variables. The let keyword is easier to understand because it's the simple lexical scoping, just like C programming language. As we said, var keyword is more complex than let keyword. The latter is just a simple lexical scoping, but there are many surprises when you are using var keyword. Let's introduce one of the surprises, the scope hoisting. If you declare a variable with var keyword, it will not be defined in the current scope. Instead, it will be hoisted to the higher environment as possible. For example, if you are declaring a variable in the top level of the script file, it will be hoisted to the global environment. And if you are declaring a variable in a function, it will be hoisted to the current function environment. The hoisting will not happen in dead code. Obviously, the assignment statement after return statement was reduced in optimizing stage. Here is an interesting example. Please think about it. At the end of this video, let's make a summary. First, we introduced module and script. No matter module or script, they are both support lexical environment. Global environment, which is unique to store language features and global objects. Module environment is the top level of a module. Function environment stores objects in a function. Block environment is the simplest lexical scoping, just like C language. Let keyword for lexical scoping, while var keyword for magic. Please remember the first magic of the var keyword, the scope hoisting. Please leave comments and questions below, or interact with me in Twitter. My official Twitter is CoderElegant. Please notice the uppercase. If you like my video, please subscribe it in case you missed something. Thanks for watching. I am Roy. See you next time.